It's like a virus tearing apart this Northland community.
You know, if New Zealand's keen to address child abuse, you've got to address the drivers for child abuse, and it's child poverty, and these machines down the road are contributing to that.
And Māori are taking the bait.
This isn't so much about problem people, but about problem machines.
And it could be your loved one who's hooked.
It's not a good image for my family to see me on TV, especially in here.
I said Saturday night and I ain't got nobody. I got some money 'cause I just got paid.
From his medical clinic in the old Kaitaia pub, New Zealander of the Year and medical expert Dr. Lance O'Sullivan is working on a plan to rid his rohe of the pokies.
It's not pills and potions and prescriptions that are the solution. It's how do you keep $150 more in the household budget of a child with a mum who's got 5 kids at home, losing all her money and her hopes into a machine. Would that make a difference to that child's health or their future? Categorically, without any argument, yes.
In the far north, pokies pull up to $14 million annually, mostly from the pockets of the people who can least afford it. And the social and economic costs are huge.
We are paying for the child who ends up in the Kaitaia hospital, gets helicoptered to Starship. We're paying for the kids who aren't going to succeed at school because they're hungry and they're sick. We as a society are paying for that.
And it's not just in his clinic where O'Sullivan sees the damage. His aversion to gambling goes back to when he was a boy. He saw his dad and uncle hustle $700 out of a stranger playing dice.
He got so sucked into the fact that he might win the big bundle of money they were showing him, he went into a bank and withdrew his money. So he had 20 minutes to think about it and still came back in the hope that he was going to get this money. I look back on it now as that man wasn't a fool, that man was desperate, and my father and uncle preyed on that desperation.
Now he's desperate to find a solution because he's convinced pokies are taking lives.
I reckon we should be looking to see how many children die because of problem gambling activities in New Zealand.
So one of the things that we've been looking at is women's experiences of engaging with poke machines.
Associate Professor Samantha Thomas from Deakin University in Australia lectures about the harm caused by problem gambling.
We know that they cause considerable harm. The rule of thumb with a poker machine is that if you sit there long enough, you will lose everything.
Speaking at the International Gambling Conference in Auckland, she says New Zealand needs to wake up to the harm pokie machines are causing.
These machines are located in some of our poorest areas. You don't see them in Remuera, you see them out in South Auckland, and there's a reason for that.
The Problem Gambling Foundation says that in wealthy communities, there is one machine for every 475 residents. But in poorer communities like the far north, there's one machine for every 75.
Maybe every venue in New Zealand should be required to display very clearly how many millions of dollars have been lost at that venue in the previous 12 months.
There are 305 pokie machines in operation in the far north, so we go inside one to see for ourselves.
Was it a surprise to see the demographic in here?
No, not at all. Ko te nuinga o te nuinga ngā Māori, ne? So, not at all. And we know that statistically, people in this room right now, who we know are using these facilities.
Research shows pokies like these are the most harmful form of gambling. But herein lies the problem. Pokies are big business. Just last year, non-casino pokies made $870 million. That's equivalent to one pokie machine earning well above the average wage of $56,000 a year. Of that, a third went towards charitable grants.
Knowing what it does, how does it make you feel?
Okay, so my position on it is I'm so strongly philosophically opposed to it that any of the work I'm involved in, foundation I'm the chairman of, or any of the fundraising involved in, I refuse to apply to gaming trusts.
And it's not just the community groups that rely on pokies. It's also the venues that have come to depend on their profits.
This here probably represents 1/10 of his whole business premise, but probably contributes to half of his profit.
Almost everyone in here refused to talk to us.
It's not a good image for my family to see me on TV, especially in here. We're trying to make some money, but you know, you'll never... You know, these things, they're bloody stacked, man.
How much do you think you put in there, 150?
Well, you telling me.
I'm not sure.
No, you're telling me you're trying to make a fool of me.
Oh.
It's like, no, hey, don't we?
To hear about what can happen inside a gaming venue, we went to see Vanessa. She worked in the industry for more than a decade, before quitting just over 5 years ago.
You just get to see the real greed of what people are capable of when it comes to money, what they will do, like these selfless things going out the window, all for the mighty dollar.
She doesn't want to be identified, but she's witnessed firsthand the harm pokies cause.
Saw a lot of heartache. You saw people crying outside. Their husbands are on the inside gambling, lost the house, lost the business, and you're just to carry on walking and return the next day to do another day's work. There was nothing much that you could do.
She says the disturbing actions people took to gamble at length in the early days were shocking.
So they used to urinate in those coin cups and crap in them, and then have the cheek to put them on top of the machines. And when the staff comes to clean, it was in there.
Because of the desperation of customers or gamblers to stay on that machine.
Yeah. We've had pregnant women stay there for long periods of time, falling off their chairs. It's because they haven't looked after themselves while they're there, forgot to drink, haven't eaten for a while, been there way longer than what they should have.
Well, it's incredibly addictive. They are well known as one of the most addictive forms of gambling in the world. That's why we need such rigorous policy and community leadership to start to look at these, just like we looked at tobacco control and alcohol misuse and the harm caused from those products in our communities.
For Dr. O'Sullivan, he just wants to see urgent change.
You know, if New Zealand's keen to address child abuse, you've got to address the drivers for child abuse, and it's child poverty, and these machines down the road are contributing to that.
So what's the solution?
What I want to see is I want to see these machines out of Kaitaia, out of Northland, because they're making my job hard.
The government plans to announce changes to the current pokies policy, and Dr. O'Sullivan has this whittle for them.
Well, put your $2 where your mouth is. You know, show us what you're going to do to get these out of my community.